uncertainty surrounding the NDC primaries set to come off in barely 72 hours, as the Electoral Commission says it will not supervise the event scheduled for Saturday, May 13, until all legal issues associated with it are resolved. According to the EC, going ahead to organize the primaries will be disrespecting the judiciary since it amounts to a contempt of court. The EC made this known on Wednesday, May 10, after it met agents of all the three flag-bearer hopefuls of the NDC. We'll bring you details of that later. First, let's hear from some of the people who were at the meeting today. Kofi Kukubo is a member of Dr. Dufour's campaign team.
It's a very short meeting, a meeting of information from the Electoral Commission that they have been served with a writ, so they cannot conduct the election. That's the communication. So until the case is determined in court, they cannot conduct the elections.
So the EC has declared to you that because of the court's case, they will not be able to conduct the elections?
Yes, otherwise they will be cited for contempt of court.
So who were the parties involved in the meeting?
All the stakeholders, the elections committee, the national chairman, Asedun Ketia, John Mohammed's representative, Kojo Bonsu's representative, then Dr. Covenant Dufour's representatives.
So are you satisfied with the response from the Electoral Commission? Is this what you were looking for?
It's not about us being satisfied. What we are looking for is a credible voter register. So the communication from EC is just to tell us that because of the court case, they cannot conduct the elections.
So you are confirming to us that the election has hit a snag. You can't have it this weekend.
I'm saying that according to the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, because of the court case, until the case is determined, they cannot conduct the elections for NDC, the presidential primaries and the parliamentary primaries. They cannot conduct it.
Did you talk about the register? Did you talk about it at all? The EC just informed you?
Yes, just informed us. Because of the court issues, they will not be able to conduct the elections.
So what next? What are you going to do?
Well, we are waiting for the party. I mean, things are in the process, so we are waiting for them to unfold. There's nothing else for us to do, unless we wait for the unfolding of the process that has been activated.
Now, I'm joined in the studio by head of our political desk here at Joy News, Evans Mensah, with details of a letter released by the Electoral Commission explaining the reason behind their decision. Now, Evans, what are the details of this letter we're getting?
So the Electoral Commission has written formally now to the party's General Secretary, communicating formally to them that they will be unable to supervise the elections come Saturday, obviously because they explain in there they don't want to be in contempt of the court on the back of the application that they have now been served with. Another thing we learned today, and this was what we learned from our sources within the meeting between the EC chairperson and the other commissioners and the representatives of the NDC. There was a national chairman himself was there, and the reps of the various presidential aspirants were also in this particular meeting. That apparently, before today, Dr. Covenant Dufour's camp had written a petition directly to the Electoral Commission, complaining about violations of the NDC's own guidelines governing the process going forward. We learned that the EC had had several meetings with the NDC's election committee and as part of the planning process. And these joint meetings agreed on setting ground rules and the guidelines. The most important guideline, which now has been breached from what we are learning from the camp of Dr. Covenant Dufour, was an agreement that 7 days, at least 7 days before the primaries, the parties involved, the various aspirants, will be given a copy of the voters' register. If you believe what the camp of Dr. Covenant Dufour has been saying, which means that that particular agreement has been breached.
Yeah.
And the EC attention was drawn to this by the Dr. Covenant Dufour's team in this formal petition to them. So they had actually called today's meeting to address the concerns in the petition they had received from Dr. Covenant Dufour. You get it?
Okay.
But then yesterday evening, they got this court process served on them. And so today's meeting then became, okay, we were going to sit and address the concerns in the petition, but because of this court process we're being served, that has been served on us. We can't even talk about it anymore. So go, deal with the court issues, and then return to the Electoral Commission for us to proceed.
We understand the party, after that particular meeting with the Electoral Commission, has made moves to ensure that they get the court to deal with the matter. What do we know of that?
So originally, this process, the interlocutory injunction application, has been scheduled to be heard on Monday. That would have been a whole day and a half, possibly, after the original date for the conference, which meant there was no way they could have gone ahead on Saturday. So the party today have had their lawyers camping at the courts, trying a desperate measure, trying to get the courts to hear them and give them an earlier date, which is this Friday. So they've just succeeded in doing that. So they've succeeded now in getting the court to bring forward the hearing date for this interlocutory injunction application to Friday. That will be done. It is the hope of the lawyers that in this particular hearing, they can convince the court that the processes that have been filed is frivolous and does not deserve the court's time. If they're successful, of course, then the primaries will go ahead. But if they are not, then we will not have a primary.
Interesting development coming up. What about the Dufour camp? With all that is going on, do we know what their next strategy is?
So the Dufour camp say they are not opposed to the earlier date for hearing of the case, so they'll go in on Friday and make their case. But they are going to be firm in court that the process going into the primary has been flawed, it's not been transparent, it will produce an election that is not free and fair, and it will injure the interests of the 300,000 plus delegates across the country. That's the argument they're going to be making in court on Friday.
All right, grateful to you. Evans Mensah is head of the political desk here at Joy News. Let's cross over to the Ododo constituency, who are here in Greater Accra region, where Joy News reporter Parkwesi Shandov is standing by with some constituents. Parkwesi, take it away from me.
Whatever. All right, Brace, I'm here at Bukom in the Ododo constituency, where I've been speaking to some constituents with respect to their reactions towards the ongoing development in the National Democratic Congress. All of them actually initially were looking forward to, the primaries on Saturday, but given the current controversies, they are very much concerned. Earlier, we spoke to the popular boxer Brahma Kamoko Bukom Banku, who said that John Mahama should be allowed to contest unopposed, and that alone is enough to settle all the controversies. But we have some of the sympathizers of the NDC here who also share similar sentiments. Saturday about vote because of Bimoni your party. Miniji Odremo.
Sana menya mengme kuna abutu because mama lady money be me fen taule. No amenyo na meni kele ba contest sana me shi ame ale kuni le no ye ko because lady monali le ododo bi fen won sule aga sane ba ni e ba dumo se wo pa me fa ko na mengme ko ni Saturday na anya ni abutu shinu onu eja kake atiato ni won pa me fa keshi amengme ame papa le kuni papa le eja kele di meni wokele ya won pa me fa ka mengme ame ale enu wo wale na wole ake ba yi
she menyo ni nye party Democratic Party ni engbe ake me pi anye ame ba ke shama menta ogbena e wo mi ne wo nye fen efet mo nye fen nye hie Mahama pese
no ni wo yen se janga shi papa le ko kwele ona ke etuni odogba shi ni bi community no ni sai wo sane NDC bi fa me fe komi shi mi na ge mene ma me to ame ka me yin abaton bi fe be na ba ya le papa le no di mo ni ba nye yi ni man bi fe ntawle e ja ke ni bi efiti ni bi ya no be na ba we bi e ba ke man bi e je na kan wo bi ane wo na ge mama no di mo ni ba nye ba wo smo ni mama aba no di no tawo
o fa me jogbe
atom David
Okay, so what David effectively has been saying is that the two other contenders, I'm talking about Kojo Bonsu and Dr. Kobna Dufour, are competent. However, they do not have the gravitas to lead the NDC into victory in 2024. There is another sympathizer here who also has been expressing his concerns. Ewo Bonhu o Odremoji Akeshim Mahamape.
Ofane wonsuma ke mama la no smoni ake ba ake ingbe fele ake mama beki bibi opo kobile po ba ke mama mo fian mo jele fele ake mama ni mama e ba skome e wini e ba shenyu awile shete no ne ba mo fe mo lele wonso ni mama la no e ba onye ka e chonwo chonshpo mama la no osmo wata wo mugomugomgo no onu pa fe no na me fi ofen am fi amashi amia mama ko che gbege bibi opo e ba gwa ke mama onu pa won pa me fai ni okpa me fan fa fe no ko she won to ni mama la no no ne ba twa no manya ba
she biane easy biane effectivement mekumeni your party emi Kobna Dufour ke Kojo Bonsu we bi ameke court injunction in term no mini jodwe mo ye no
face no no kama ke bi ene bu konfie fe mu fia mo mama ale bu komukomuko no ameshini amia no mo ko check pe bi bo mama ele bi fe bu ko era nu ofe mo fia mo mama wole mugomugomgo no onu gba no na me fi ofe am fi am ajo amejo mo na mo fi ofe ko me wo mama ajo mo shi ko check pe mo bo e ke mama no onu gba won pa me fai wa na machine
she best sakas an election say na ba fear if transparent if credible if it mo ni be ya fe wrong few no an injunction e ba o ko no begbe no
wo fa ne no le won pa me fai no me get Saturday afo mi won pa me fai won so ni Saturday avote ni ashin ni mama mo fi mo le won pa me fai Saturday on so ni aba no mama wole mugo mama mo fi am mama wole won pa me fai.
So the point he's been making effectively is that John Dramani Mahama is the only individual who all of them here are actually rooting for. Please, the name again.
My name is Ni Ayi, alias right now, Cecilia.
All right. So your thoughts as well. Bon oye nakandramo no alo bon ko kwe ako Kojo Bonsu alo Kobna Dufour.
Mika na ako Kambran before John Mahama no aba. Aja ke ba ikole Islama ke tie e ba chanu ke simple nwe ba chanu. No, I believe Almighty God, inshallah, by 2024 John Mahama ba win total. Aja ke ni indebie shi mi dadranka shi adranka ni dem mama se fe am a fe and this total. Now I believe that 2024 John Mahama eba win total.
All right, so effectively, by way of summing up their sentiment, what they have been saying conclusively is the fact that they are rallying massively behind former President John Dramani Mahama, and they are making the point that the two other contenders, I'm talking about Kojo Bonsu and Dr. Kobna Dufour, do not have that political gravitas and the clout to lead the National Democratic Congress. Therefore, they feel that Mahama should be given the nod, irrespective of the current conversations about the injunction. Brace.
Well, so that's my colleague Parkwesi Shandorf from that constituency. Still on the NDC, the party's key contender for the flag bearer position, John Dramani Mahama, has been touring the Upper West region. Here is a report from Rafiq Salam.
Former President John Dramani Mahama wrapped up his phase day campaign tour of the Upper West region at the West Central constituency, where he interacted with the over 1,800 delegates who will be taking part in the party's primaries on Saturday. He stated that all signs favor the return of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, return to power. However, what the party needs is a healthy majority in parliament to enable it to deliver on its mandate upon assumption of power. He noted that cannot be achieved without unity in the party. He therefore urged the four aspirants for the party's primary and their supporters not to see each other as enemies but as a family contest. John Dramani Mahama then chided at the Akufo-Addo administration for having no clue in the management of the country's economy. He averred that the biggest group of disappointed people in the country now are supporters of the ruling New Patriotic Party, NPP.
They have no clue where they are going. And those who are more disappointed in this country than anybody else is the MPP people themselves. The MPP people themselves are more disappointed than anybody else. Because the government has been hijacked by a few family and friends. And it's like Ogofu football. If your relative is not inside, they'll never pass the ball to you. And so the time has come, my brothers and sisters, for us to rise up and rescue our country.
The former president earlier in the day was at the Muse constituency where he rolled out plans of fighting corruption should he be given the nod in the 2024 polls.
Any person, whether in my government or outside my government or in the previous MPP government, if the anti-corruption institutions are dealing with you, that is your business. Because we must save this country. This country is not for a few people. It's for all of us. And we need to build it so that we can leave a legacy for our children and our grandchildren. And I can assure you, we are up to the task, and we're going to deliver a better standard of governance than MPP have ever delivered. We're going to teach Ghanaians that government can be far better than what they are seeing today.
He also made a stopover at the Laura Senior High School where he met delegates and supporters of the party.
When NDC was in government, we knew free SHS was going to increase the student numbers. And that's why we started building the E-blocks, so that we could get more space in the secondary schools for children. And then aside from that, on all the campuses, we started building dormitories, administration blocks, dining halls, classroom blocks, and all that. After we left office, they took the GET fund, went and mortgaged it to build 16 STEM secondary schools. And all the projects we were building, the E-blocks, the projects in the secondary schools have come to a standstill because they don't have money to pay the contractors. And so today there's not enough dormitory space, and so the children are packed like sardines in the dormitories. Today, the quality of food that we feed the children is so poor. I can see that some of my children are here. This is actually the whole globe. The quality of food you're feeding our children is poor, it's not good. And if a child does not eat properly in the morning and goes and sits in class, what can they study? What can they learn?
Now, still on the NDC, one of the constituencies where the National Democratic Congress Parliamentary will have a fierce contest is the Lambusie constituency. The contest is between former General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Titus Kofi Beyo, former Member of Parliament Edward Ka Ewola Derry, and research scientist Dr. Emmanuel Kambam Panyang. Joy News' Upper West Regional correspondent Rafiq Salam takes a closer look at the contest and report from Lambusie.
Democratic Congress flag bearer hopeful John Dramani Mahama began his two-day campaign tour of the Upper West region at Tumu, capital of the South East constituency. He interacted with the 837 delegates drawn from 96 branches of the party that will be voting at the party's presidential and parliamentary primaries on Saturday. The delegates, clad in the party's paraphernalia and over 2 dozen glowing Vuvuzela happy supporters, the auditorium of the Tumu College of Education was full to the rafters. Former President John Dramani Mahama used the occasion to introduce the trio aspiring to represent the party in the 2024 polls, urging them and their supporters to put the primaries behind them once a victor emerges in the Saturday polls, and then went in for the jugular of the new Patriotic Party and President Akufo-Addo.
In 2016, all the lies they told, all the propaganda they told, Ghanaians can now see the truth. All the preaching, Yatisikasu, Ekomdeye, and all that, Ghana, Yemo, and all those things. I mean, we are now even more mobile today than in 2016. Any work anybody does, you hardly get any profit. I can beat my chest and say that in 2016, when NDC was in power, our lives were far better than they are today. assure you, all the predictions, all the opinion polls show that NDC is coming back into office.
He reiterated earlier plans made on the need to complete all projects started by the NDC and now being abandoned by the MPP.
All over, you go to our schools, you go to all our districts, and there are projects that government started that have been abandoned. There are some that are ongoing, but because they are not paying the contractors are not on site. We were building a lot of roads. When they came, they asked them to stop. They've asked them to go back, but they are not paying the contractors, so the work is not going fast. So what we'll do is we're not going to be in a hurry to start new projects. We're going to take an inventory of all the abandoned projects and ongoing projects, including their own. We're not going to just do ours. Including their own. The projects any projects they are working on now, I don't see many of them, but whatever they are working on, together with ours that they abandoned, the E-blocks, the hospitals and all that, we're going to continue and finish them before we start any new projects.
The former president later rolled out of town and headed west to Bolu, where he also interacted with delegates of the party in the Sasala West constituency.
The Sasala West constituency has 881 delegates drawn from 94 branches of the party. The delegates have resolved to not only give a resounding victory in Saturday's presidential primary, but will work to ensure that John Dramani Mahama is returned to power to continue with his good works as well. Leading the charge are the constituency chairman, Faisal Mahmood, and the member of parliament, Adam Suparu.
We know, and we are aware you can do the work. You have been on the seat before. You have an unfinished project that we are waiting on you to do.
Now, a former deputy national women's organizer of the party, Mami Efwasechi Edu, will be battling it out with 6 male aspirants in the Mfantsman constituency. The contest is expected to be fierce, with the aspirant crisscrossing the constituency in a last-minute push to woo the delegate. But the only female contender in the race believes her resourcefulness and experience in the political space should produce the needed magic. Regent Kujoyako has more in the following report.
The Mfantsman constituency is a swing one. Whoever wins the seat more often has his or her party forming the government. 7 aspirants are all gearing up to get the nod from the delegates of the party in the upcoming primaries.
I want to invest in the delegates. I want the delegates to feel the impact of a good government. So what we are going to do is that we are going to have a delegate fund. First of all, I am going to make sure that I unify Mfantsman. We have too many fragmentations here. We have too many camps, too many divisions. There's no unity here. Being a woman, being a mother, that is what I want to do. I want to bring Mfantsman together. I want Mfantsman to be unified. And once we start from there, everything else is possible.
Mami Efwasechi Edu, the only female contender, says she has all it takes to pip the men in the contest.
Well, first of all, I want delegates to understand that when we come to them and talk to them, they are matured politicians and they should know who speaks the truth. They should also go for experience, because half the time people come and they are finding their feet, you know. But here I am. I have gone through that already. I'm not finding my feet. I understand where I am. I understand what I'm bringing them, and I know how to get it for them.
Apart from her, there are 3 others who are speculated to be the front runners in the contest.
They know what I've been doing to support the party from 2012 till now. So when I entered there, I was the last person, and they started giving testimonies of what I have been doing to support the party. And they were mentioning, you did this, you did this, you did this. I was just nodding and looking at them, and I said, yes, this is Andy Kofi.
Alfred Andy Kofi believes his works in the constituency should give him an edge over his competitors.
We've heard of your name, we've seen your good works, that is why you become an MP. And this is what came from the panel. You know, in everything, amongst the equals, there's always the best. So even if you were 1,000, don't forget that in the Bible, Jesse has 7 sons. David was the last one, and he was the promised land who became a king on a foreign land. So if you are 7, yes, it also means that NDC, we have the men. We have equal people that can equally do the work better. So yes, we are 7. I believe that God will choose one, and that is Andy Kofi. When Andy Kofi wins, the 6 will come to join me to help NDC in Fantiman Central Region and Ghana to go forward.
Political watchers believe that Mami Efosichi Edu, who's been a national executive before, Alfred Andy Kofi, Dr. Ebenezer Prince Ahen, Kobina Main Samano are the favorites in the context. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejenya Akon, in Fantiman constituency.